everybody, and welcome to the newest episode of the Theater Enthusiast podcast. As always, I am drinking out of my hot priest mug. The hot priest candle is lit to bless this podcast. And I have to say, and I literally say this every single podcast, I'm very excited about our next guest. And I'm pretty sure that I've said this to her face many times, that she's a gem of a human being. I've said that to you before. And I even tell people when I'm like, oh my God, this person, I love her. She's a gem of a human. So without further ado, Lisa CM Lamothe.
Amazing. You're great. Thank you, Allison. Happy to be here.
So what's funny about that app is I don't know if it's because of Zoom or the microphone, but we'll hear it and then you'll hear it for 2 seconds on the recording and it's like, whoop, and then nothing.
Oh no.
So I drink out of my hot priest mug, and I already showed you your mugs, but the people who are listening don't know what mugs I have for you. So normally I do one mug, sometimes I do two, depending. So for Lisa, I have Terrence McNally's Frankie and Johnny and the Claire de Lune. Not because I think she should be in the show. I don't think you would ever do that show. I mean, would you get naked on stage?
Oh.
Exactly. So Lisa won't do that show. But the reason I have it is because Lisa is the number one Audra McDonald fan that I know. And you know what? She's my personal Audra McDonald. How about that? There's nothing you can't do. And I also have my Shakespeare's love mug. Should I read a quote?
Yes.
Let's do. I do love nothing in the world so well as you. Is not that strange? Is not that, wow, Shakespeare starting the Yoda trend. Is not that strange? Maybe I just read that wrong. Hello, Lisa.
Hello, Allison.
How are you?
I am well, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. This has been a long time coming, having you on the podcast.
We did it.
We finally did it, you guys.
Oh my God.
So I like to start off with, where are you from?
I am equal parts from New York and New Jersey. I very much tell people I'm from both places because I was born in the city, but I grew up in New Jersey, and I've been back in New York for the past years, so a good while.
Yeah. I do remember when you had an apartment with your dad, how it was probably 10 or less years ago, there was a huge mouse infestation in my apartment, and I was just nope. And so I called Lisa. I was like, can I please sleep over? So at 11 or 12 at night, I hopped into a cab and went over to your apartment just to sleep there, and I left at 6 in the morning because I had work the next day.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Well, New York City, unfortunately, these very sad things happen.
Yeah. That was more so my older brother. You know what? I don't want to jinx it because this apartment's been good. I'm in a new place, same building. I will say they just fixed my toilet though, and it doesn't wobble every time I sit down. So that's a new experience.
That's nice. My refrigerator just started working today. It's been broken since Sunday night. So that's cool.
Well, listen, at least it's only been Sunday and not I thought you were going to be it's been broken for a year.
Oh my gosh. No. But I did have no gas for, oh my gosh, I think it was 8 months, something.
Oh, they a year in my building.
Yeah. This just happens. Nobody tells you that. This just happens. Some buildings there's no gas, and they don't technically have to really do anything other than give you hot plates, and it just takes forever to fix it. So.
They also deducted our rent a little bit too because of it.
Oh, well, that's nice. They did not.
Well, because of the pandemic, they deducted my rent a lot this year. It would also was a battle to have them do it. My dad knows somebody. He's like, am I calling this person? And I said, yes, please. And he goes, you know what? This guy should do it because you were unemployed for 11 months. In that 11 months, you paid full rent. And I didn't call him and ask him for a favor. So there you go. Okay. So so where did you go to elementary, middle school, high school?
I went to 3 elementary schools.
Okay.
We moved, and that I hit the trifecta. So New York, and then we moved to Westchester, and then we moved to New Jersey, which is where I settled. And then I did middle and high school in New Jersey.
Got it. So where would you say your love of theater started?
The theater. Um, when did it not start? I can barely
Right?
remember it. Yeah, I
My
think
bat mitzvah theme
because
was Broadway, but I feel like I also copied my sister, but we were also like, she and I loved Broadway. So,
I love hearing people's like bar and bat mitzvah themes. It's the
oh
best.
yeah, it was Broadway.
What else would it be?
O Town? No, that was more high school.
Yeah, that was later.
Hmm.
Um, so I think for me, it definitely was super young. I mean, I came out singing and dancing. Like I was like that kid who would always do shows for people. Like my mom always talks about how she would pick me up from Sunday school and they would be like, oh my gosh, Lisa's your baby. She was dancing for everyone. Da, 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 da. Like it just was always kind of that kid. And then my mom is actually a really fierce designer and seamstress. So I grew up going to rehearsals with her because my mom was kind of, her way of doing the working mom thing was to just bring us with her
Hmm.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
also your mom is
wow.
awesome.
Yeah, my mom is a cool lady. She's very much one of a kind. So she would
Mhm.
just bring us with her a lot and she'd just be like, stay in the corner and be quiet. So I would just be in rehearsal studios a lot, just, sitting in the floor of City Center, watching everyone dance around or like wherever we were. So, and that's,
Hold on. Were any of these places that you sat in on, was Audra McDonald there?
no, but that would have been amazing. That would have been amazing.
That would have just
Um,
been like your lifelong
that would
done.
be so full circle, right?
Imagine if you ended up working as a dresser on a Broadway show that Audra McDonald was in,
Or as an actor.
or as an actor on a Broadway show that Audra McDonald is in.
That's the real dream. I mean, they're both the dream, but yes, that would be amazing. I would love that.
Mhm.
Um,
Well,
but
listen,
that
if
is,
there's ever, if I ever direct a revival of Ragtime on Broadway, which I highly doubt will ever happen, and I also think Bart Scher should direct the next revival of
mm,
Ragtime,
he's
I
so
would
sweet.
have you as my Sarah.
Thank you, dear. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it. But no, but I always think about that experience I had like going to rehearsals with my mom. And I always say that's why I'm more of a theater person and a process person, because it really was the rehearsals that spoke to me, the time where you just, try stuff out and like, just hanging with everyone. Like that's my idea of like collaborative arts. That's what I like doing.
Mhm. So when you were deciding on college, what made you like, what schools did you audition for? What made you decide to go to where you went to?
It was the worst. I had a very narrow, very short list because one thing about me is like once I decide I know what I want, that's what I'm doing. And there's not a single deviation that I can be talked into. So I decided I was getting a BFA in musical theater, and I decided I was going to New York City, maybe somewhere close by. But that actually shrunk my list really significantly because I wasn't interested in getting a BFA in theater or music. I wasn't interested in a BA. I only wanted a BFA program. So
Mhm.
there were really only a few schools that I auditioned for and took seriously. Because I mean, even fantastic institutions like the Hart School, which I wish I would have considered more, in my mind, I was like, that's Connecticut. I'm already in New Jersey. I'm already so far. you
Yeah.
know? So it was a short list, and I think when it came down to it, I was looking at Pace, AMDA, NYU, Montclair. That was kind of it. I think I had auditioned or looked at a few others as like maybes. And I didn't really get to give NYU an honest shot. I had strep throat and they wouldn't let me reschedule my audition. So I auditioned with strep throat and did not get in. Um,
Well, okay, first of all,
I know
like,
everyone probably got infected.
if you're just like, hi, I have strep throat, they didn't like, did you say that in your audition?
No, I just said I don't feel well.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't tell
I
them.
would have been
I
like,
called and said I have strep throat because I thought that they would say, "Oh, let's reschedule you," because I couldn't
mhm,
really talk. But they were like, oh, sorry, we don't reschedule. And I was like,
I
okay,
would
well,
have shown up and I've been like,
so.
hi guys, I have strep throat, but I'm here to audition for you. And if you think I'm horrible, just wait till the strep is gone. Oh yeah. Do you
Right?
remember what you auditioned with?
Yes, I do. I did. I enjoy being a girl.
Nice.
And so, in musical theater, you usually have to have like 2 monologues and 2 songs. So my 2 songs were I Enjoy Being a Girl and Can't Help Loving That Man of Mine, but like a jazzy
Oh
arrangement
my
of
God,
it
I love that
that I
song so
stuck with,
much.
and I've done a lot. Yeah. So I did those 2. And I think, gosh, I actually don't remember what my monologues were because there were a few different ones that I rotated at
If
that
it
time.
makes you
I
feel
don't
any
know what
better,
I
I
did.
don't remember the monologues, but I remember the songs I auditioned with. So,
Oh, what did you do?
well, I auditioned for musical theater and I didn't get in,
Boo.
which after people hearing me sing were like, you didn't get into musical theater? And I'm like, I didn't.
You have a great voice. You really do.
Thank you. I know. Um, and I think it's only gotten better too. God, that sounds so like, but like, sorry. I auditioned with someone like you from Jekyll and Hyde
Oh, love that song.
and Who Will Buy from Oliver.
Oh, I can't remember.
And
Okay.
I auditioned for the head of the musical theater department at the time, who I don't know if the name is going to come up in our conversation, but it probably will. And she said, what else do you want to do? And I told her how I want to direct and all this stuff. And she goes, I think it'll be really good for the BA program, but you can always re-audition for musical theater.
Mm,
So I actually got into PACE as a BA, but I was
mhm.
taking all the BFA classes. And because I impressed people so much with my role in the food chain as a character I'll one day turn into B, um, Grant, that is a guy who works at PACE. He was like, because I was meeting with him to like figure out my classes, and he
Mhm.
goes, why don't you just become a BFA? He's like, you're taking all the BFA classes. We can use your food chain performance as your audition, so you don't have to re-audition. I'm like, okay. And then I walked out of the office with him, and Doc was there, and Grant goes, yeah, so she's gonna be a BFA, and we're gonna use the food chain as her audition. And he goes, okay. And that's
Ah,
how I became like a BFA acting major.
I love that. You got
Yeah.
like, I feel like that's such a good window into how show business actually works.
Mhm.
There's always 2 roads into everything. There's always like front door and back door and side
Well,
doors.
yeah, I mean, I definitely think like, especially with these readings, you kind of, because with readings, you don't really audition people. So you kind of base things off of like other performances that you've seen them in, And I also think that I have very out of the box casting when it comes to certain things. Like, for reasons to be pretty, like, who would cast Andrew Kober in that role, I did, and he was wonderful, and I'm very proud of that fact. And I still tell people, I'm like, I think he's great. Like normally you wouldn't play a part like that, but like, wow. And it's
Yeah.
funny too because like I've spoken to many musical theater people because the majority of the people we've had doing the readings are musical theater,
Mhm.
and they've said that once you do musical theater, people don't see you for straight plays.
It's true.
So like even Jessica Voss was like,
Mm.
I'm doing a play, like this never happens. And Cobra's like, get used to it. So,
Ah.
yeah.
Yeah, it is exciting. I mean, I think that's such a thing just in general. People get you in mind as like you do this thing and then that's kind of it. So
Yeah.
it's
I
always
mean,
good
I
to
did
push back
cast somebody based on like a romance movie I saw them in,
though. Mhm.
which is another story for another time and not to embarrass myself in my non-existent love life. But no, I cast him in a reading as like a very different part than what that is, but like I knew that he could do it.
Mm,
I don't know, it's just weird.
it's great
Anyway, so what made you decide on Pace University?
because besides Pace and NYU, those were the only actual BFAs in New York City. I got into Montclair, but that was in New Jersey, and I got into AMDA, but it's not I think it's like a certificate program. Like it wasn't technically like a, it's not the same
And you
cultural
couldn't
identity.
audition outside of the program while you were going, from what
Yeah,
I've heard.
I mean, technically, we weren't really supposed to either at first, at least. I mean, they encouraged us to like later, but not in the beginning. I don't think that was a deterrent. I think I would have just done it anyway when I wanted to, but it was more so that I wanted like a collegiate experience and something I could potentially build on. Because I liked the idea of having the option to get like a higher degree. I knew that, sometimes for teaching or whatever, you needed a degree. So
Mhm.
it was really kind of cut and dry. I was like, cool, musical theater, BFA, boom.
Mhm. And you got to meet me. Oh, I don't even remember where or how we met, but I'm just grateful that we're still friends all these years later.
Yay.
Yeah, I don't speak to a lot of people from college still, which is fine.
Mm,
Yeah,
well, it happens.
yeah. I mean, I still have like a good amount of people I talk to though. So,
Yeah,
so should we get into it?
let's do it.
Okay. So, what was your experience like at Pace in the musical theater department? Because there's been stuff in the world about it. Um, and
Mm,
I've never asked you because it's very like not my business, but I did ask you before. And if there's something you don't want to talk about, we don't have to. I mean, and I say this because people who have listened to the podcast, and I've said this to you, have heard me bitch about my experience at Pace, especially
mm,
my senior year. And everybody's experience is their own personal experience, and that doesn't mean that it's the next person's.
mhm.
So, what was your experience like at Pace? Good and bad.
Yeah, and it was very much, a mixed bag in different ways. I mean, I could look through it through a lot of different lenses. Like there were a lot of things I really loved about the experience. I mean, everything I wanted about being in New York City was absolutely there. I met incredible people. Um, and I had some really good experiences. I also got my first professional job while I was still in school. I think it was my junior year, and that was something that our department head helped me do. So that was cool. Um, but then, there were some challenges as well. I mean, just educationally, one thing that was hard for me was that we didn't have more resources for those of us who were more like musicians. So, we had like for the musical theater majors, we had one semester of music theory that everyone was in all together and one semester of sight singing. But both of those classes were like not broken up into any sort of level. So for those of us who came in with like some knowledge already, we didn't necessarily grow. So I didn't feel like I grew in my musicianship at Pace, which is something that I really regretted because being a vocalist is actually a way that I've worked a good amount and something that I care a lot about. So that was a bummer. And then, my experience there as a Black woman was like, it was definitely significant. Like my race was always, I don't know. It was always a thing, like there was like never a time where I wasn't aware of the fact that I was a Black woman, whether it was like, oh, you have to do this show because we need you in it, not because
Mhm.
like whatever. Like it would just be like kind of, you just felt like put in boxes a lot. And I know that that's a lot of what's being discussed. And, for the most part, it wasn't the worst for me because it was like ragtime that actually Sarah actually is a dream role that actually felt like a favor, that went
By the
both
way,
ways.
I saw that 5 times and I cried, but I think I was also like on my period when I saw it. So I like cried. So I remember getting like Pam like a thing of Skittles because she went on his mother. I was like, you were so good. And it's
Oh,
like,
oh my gosh, she was
she was
amazing. Oh, she was
fantastic.
incredible. Yeah,
The
she
other one
really
was a little La Cucaracha.
no, but
Um,
she was also
It
great.
was
Both of them
great.
were
I
great.
do remember I either heard her say it or somebody told me she said it, that because there was somebody who we went to college with who was on tour doing Annie. They're
Mhm,
like, oh, the only reason I got this part is because this person's on tour. And it's like,
mhm,
way to like diminish like you getting this role, girl.
mhm.
But yes, ragtime was amazing. Continue.
It was great. But, so that experience wasn't negative in any way. That was actually one of my highlights. And it's nice when things work out that way, but then I remember later there was like a time where I was being considered for a play and a musical at the same time. And it was like, oh, but you have to do the musical because this has to be a Black person. It wasn't like because you're good at it. You know what I mean? Um, and so it's tricky because there's some element of that where like that's how show business goes. Like it just
Well, I
that's
also think that's interesting too. I mean, sorry to like not make this about race for a second, because you're talking about it, but I just think it's interesting too because like the straight actors like never could get into like the musicals,
yeah, I
and
know.
like the musical theater people were always able to get into the straight plays.
Some, not all, but yeah, but it definitely went more that way than the other.
Yeah.
That's
And
true.
then it
I,
kind of
I
just
only
like
remember one straight actor being in a musical.
I'm sorry.
I said I only remember one like acting major being in a musical.
Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, Matt in Ragtime.
Matt who?
Um Malloy.
Oh, that's right.
He was so funny and
Sorry,
terrible.
he goes by Forrest Malloy now.
I know. I had to think about it. I'm like, oh my gosh. How do I
Because there was like Matt Roden, Matt Alford.
Alpha
But
Matt?
like, I'm not mad about that because he's such a good actor. He can do whatever he wants.
He's amazing.
I just remember like senior year, they were doing Cradle Will Rock, and like even Doc knew. I was like, I'm getting this part, like it's happening. And somebody told me that like, yeah, everybody thought you were gonna get it. And then it ended up going to like a freshman musical theater major.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't even remember that.
That's
Was
fine. I ended up being able
college
to
strings?
spend more time directing how I learned to drive. So,
Yeah. Oh well, it all worked out then.
but
Um,
anyway,
but
so
anyway, yeah, so in some ways it wasn't bad for me because I did feel like well liked within the department and I felt like I got to use my skill set. So most of my experience wasn't bad, except like as things got further along, I did feel very pigeonholed and I felt like I couldn't really grow as a student because I always had to fulfill this need of being like the Black woman. And it really was the most problematic for me when it came to showcase. And this was something that I talked to folks about. We had a different faculty member was in charge of our showcase, and it was someone who at the time liked to look at us with fresh eyes. So they wouldn't have necessarily have seen other performances that we did. And I mean, I don't want to go into too much detail, but I very much knew and was just put in a box of like, you're our Black theater major, this is what you're going to do, or a Black musical theater major. I didn't feel like there was very much consideration given to like what skills I bring, the fact that I was a legit soprano, the fact that I had a lot of acting experience like as a straight actor, more than most of my classmates. The majority of students who graduated in the BFA musical theater program with me hadn't done as many straight plays as I had. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think I was maybe the only one who did a main stage Shakespeare play. I don't think anyone else did, but that was never even thought
which
of.
one was that? Was that the Scottish
Romeo,
play?
Romeo
Oh,
and
Rome and
Juliet.
Jules? I call it Rome's and Jules.
Yeah,
I mean, I just remember like when Matt Alford got cast, everyone was like, there was a freshman who got cast in this.
I remember
Yeah.
that too. It was such a big deal. We became
Yeah.
friends at that time because we were like, it was mostly upperclassmen who were theater majors, and then there were two of us who were younger, and I don't remember if anyone else was Abby in that. There's probably another musical theater person in there, but not a
I don't
lot.
remember. I just remember like people like spreading rumors about them actually having sex on stage. And I'm just like, okay, great. Like,
Oh gosh, and that yeah, whatever.
yeah. No, I just remember everybody being like, oh, no. And I remember meeting him like at Trojan Women backstage. I'm like, oh, so you're the freshman who was in Romeo and Juliet?
Yeah, it was a thing. But anyway, so it was disheartening that they didn't really consider like who I was as a performer. And I do think it was a detriment that that wasn't showcased or even attempted to be showcased.
Well, you know what's really interesting is
Right.
that there is somebody who was older than us and I
Uh-huh.
saw their showcase, and I like remember taking acting classes with them. And for her showcase, she did a song and a monologue. She didn't do two songs.
Hmm.
Was that ever an option for you guys?
Not really, but I mean, it was also a problem that my class was so large. So I think part of the choice was to keep it musical because they felt like it would keep the pace going.
Yeah.
It's fine. I think everything works out how it's supposed to, and I think everyone is talented and doing their best, but it's it's definitely like a huge stain on my experience that I felt like my showcase did not
Didn't
match
she do
my
something from
college
Sweet
experience.
Charity? Sorry that
Um,
I was interrupting.
Hold on, sorry. So I feel like my showcase very much did not reflect my college experience, or like the work that I had put out. It just felt like we're going to put a sticker on you and disregard everything you've been doing for the past 4 years. And that happened specifically because I was a Black woman. So it's hard that it ended on that note because a lot of my PACE experience was positive. But the race relations there do need to be looked at. um, and I hope they're doing the work because a lot of attention is being called to it, as it should. And I
Yeah.
know a lot of people had a lot of very traumatic experiences, and I had some negative ones too, being forced to sing material that I didn't connect with and being told to be a certain way. So it was a mixed bag for me. It's never something I think of as like all bad or all good. And similarly with my experiences with different professors, like the one we're deliberately not naming because of all the controversy, I actually did have a lot of really positive experiences with that person. um
Well, I will say with
I've
that
been
person, there
too,
was a lot of
so.
people did not like this professor.
Mhm.
And she like, I've never had a relationship with her, but she was always very kind to me in certain ways.
Yeah.
Like she let me sit in on a musical theater class and then I stopped going because it was just so early in the morning. And then I saw him like, I'm sorry I stopped going. She's like, it's fine. Like you're not a musical theater major, and she let us use Mainframe Studio for a show that I directed, so she was
Mhm.
always kind to me in certain aspects like that,
Mhm.
but I didn't really have much of a relationship with her. But I do want to say this about you. You're kind of a bad ass because you were just like, I'm going to do a cabaret. I'm going to put on a cabaret and you
Oh
are
yeah.
all going to come and see me. And I said to you, if you ever want me to sing with you, let me know because I hoard myself out to everybody in college. I was like, hey, if you want me to do your show, like, let me know. I'm available. And I feel like I've said this to you before, but you were the only one who's ever taken me up on that offer.
Oh
So if,
yeah.
yeah, so if and when I ever do a cabaret, it's going to be called Look My Can Sing. I'm
Uh-huh.
going to have you as one of my featured people, and we're going to sing Move On from Chicago like we did.
You're so sweet. I love it. That's
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that because I mean to your point, it was always I always did feel bad that like you said, it was unequal. There were a good number of musical theater students who were able to do plays, but it was much harder to go the other way. And you have a lovely voice. So yeah, I was
I
happy to
even
take
had
you up
people come up to me after, they're like, we didn't know you could sing. I'm like, yeah, I know.
on it. Yeah. Hidden talents. So anyway, yeah, my pace experience was mixed, but I never want to talk about it all negative or all great. There were a lot of great things. And I really did make some of my best friends, like I said, started working professionally while I was there and definitely grew. I did grow a lot vocally. I had incredible voice teachers. So even though I didn't grow as much as I would have liked to musically, like
Mhm.
that wasn't the fault of the music teachers. They were brilliant and wonderful, but it's you gotta teach, you gotta get everyone on the same page. So
Yeah.
we had some folks who came in with zero music theory knowledge, and so they had to teach us all at the same time, which is a tough gig. But my voice teachers were amazing. The department head did bump me up with some of the dance stuff. She saw that I was, a decent mover, so that was helpful. I was able to start dancing more sooner. So there were a lot of really great things there. And the one musical I wasn't sure that I wanted to do, but ended up doing was actually really fun. So,
Can I
there were
ask what it was?
um, it was the one I did senior year. It was all shook up. And it wasn't that I didn't want to do it.
Oh,
It was that I wanted
yeah.
to do a play, but they were like, "No, you have to do the musical because you have to be in that." And I was like, "Why?" But I had so much fun. That was
Well,
seriously one
that's a
of
really
my
fun
favorite
show.
experiences. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Like
I
that was
remember it was
so
like a huge deal on like Halloween because it was like the understudy performance. Like everybody went in costume to see it.
Oh, yeah.
And we
Oh
like
my
went to
gosh,
TJ's
and John was
after.
so great. Yeah, that was a really fun show, and Donna is amazing, and Rhonda, and yeah, that was incredible. So I am glad that I did that show.
Yeah. Okay, so Pace is over. Click, put goodbye. What's next? What happens after college?
Um, oh my gosh, what did happen after college?
It was
Um,
only 2 years ago. So, I mean, it's gonna
yeah,
be
what happened last summer? Okay, so what happened last summer?
what happened last summer. I went to my dad's house a lot more.
And it was great.
It was, he has a pool.
Oh, that's nice. Why haven't I
Yeah.
been? Um,
What'd you say?
I said, why haven't I been over? I live with my
Listen, I mean, he was like, you can stay over 4th of July weekend. I'm like, can I invite people? He's like, no, I don't want people I don't know at my house. I'm like, then why am I staying over by myself, not to have people over?
It's such a dad answer.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's okay. So right after that, I did some like stuff. Even though like I said, I didn't like my showcase.
Didn't you do something from Sweet Charity?
I did a trio from Sweet Charity, and I did the song I auditioned for college with. Can't help loving that man of mine, but the
I
arrangement.
think it's like coming back to me.
Yeah,
That fish gotta swim and that's my
yeah,
really bad I used to be really good at doing Audra McDonald, but now it's just like gone.
it's fine. Um, so yeah, so I got some attention from Showcase, but not a lot, and I wasn't brokenhearted because I didn't even really like my package either. I was like, I wouldn't have picked me either, basically.
I had the worst scene
So
partner.
I'm sorry. I
So
don't remember.
I don't want to drop
I
names,
think it
but
was hard for us to see. Oh, wait, wasn't he a great actor?
no.
Okay, we need to talk. We need to talk offline because I might
We'll
be
talk
missing.
offline. But like, first of all, like nobody wanted to work with me because the controversy of like people from senior year.
Hmm.
And also just like
Y'all had some drama as a
there's
whole.
a lot of drama.
Yeah, I felt bad for you guys.
Well, the class was divided, and like the
Yeah,
people on the side that I wasn't on were the ones causing the drama. And it's
yeah,
like
it was rough over there.
it was a rough time.
Yeah,
I didn't even send any stuff out. Like I don't even know what my life was, but it's all good.
yeah. I'm like trying to think back. It was hard for me to see the showcase. I don't remember if I did, which I don't know how that would be possible, but I don't remember the
I
showcase.
feel like somewhere in my apartment, maybe I got rid of them or like our senior showcase like books with like everyone's headshots and everything. I
Aw.
either threw it out or I have it somewhere. It's one of the two. It's a 50-50 shot.
I either have it or I don't. That's
I
fair.
either have it or I don't. And I just remember being like, oh, directing. And people are like, you shouldn't put directing on there. I'm like, but still,
Do
like,
it. Yeah.
whatever. I've directed 16
Okay.
readings within a
So
year. So
that's amazing, girl. Good for you.
thank you. And it's like, oh, I'm going to direct this Tony winner. Great. I'm not nervous.
NBD.
NBD. And they're like so lovely. Great. Anyway, so
Yeah.
after Pace.
After Pace. So yeah, so like I said, I didn't get a lot of bites from Showcase. Like it just wasn't great. But I did end up getting a commercial agent soon after for just going to a party, and someone was like, "You have a great look. I want to give you my card." And I was like, "Okay." So I was with one agency for a little bit, did some auditions, booked some things, did a few like little commercial spots, did and somewhere in the process I like lost that agent, then got another, actually through a Pace connection. And then more theater things actually. So that first ragtime that I did when I was a junior, that director hired me again for another production of ragtime. He was doing it at another theater, so that was fun. That was actually like another great experience, made a lot of friends. So yeah, I was just doing the like actor shuffle thing, And then I kind of started burning out a little bit. It got really hard. I wasn't booking the, well-paying gigs, and for a while I wasn't booking at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of burned out like a couple of years in and slowed down a bit. So I don't know. I feel like I only went really hard on auditioning for maybe like 2 years or something, 2, 3 years. And then I kind of hit a wall. So I had been surviving by doing nannying, and then that led to teaching. And I'd been ushering. Oh my gosh. So okay, first how I got into teaching was wild. I feel like just God decided I was going to be a teacher and it just happened. Like I always had a lot of experience working with kids. I was a nanny in college, and I started teaching music in college as well with a company where I was working at a daycare. So I was doing 0 to 4 years old, and you just be in there with your little keyboard singing songs with them. So that was cute.
Is that where your like Saturday Night Lullabies have come into play during the pandemic?
No, that came
Okay.
from a friend telling me, I would just listen. They were like, you should get a job just singing people to sleep. They were like, they actually called me one time, like it was late. He's like, will you just sing me to sleep? I'm really stressed out. And I was like, what? Okay.
We just like fish that swim and birds that fly. Maybe that should be like my intro and outro music is Lisa Lamothe singing like Theater Enthusiast Podcast.
Perfect.
Done.
Just get a sensible
You're
little
hired.
thing
It
going.
is, it is, hopefully for free.
I don't know, then I'm out.
I'll give you $1.
I'm dead. So yeah, so I had a lot of experience working with kids, and then I was ushering, which was a really fun job. I think theater
Where
folk,
did you
you
usher?
usher once in your life.
Oh, that's right. You ushered when it was like on the town, right?
And Spider-Man. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
So
one
I remember that
had a
because I
million
think
names.
I interviewed to be an usher at that theater and the interview went really well and I was talking to you about it
Uh-huh.
and I didn't even end up getting it.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I ushered at I ushered at the Minetta Lane Theater. I've
Yeah.
ushered at the Union Square Theater that doesn't even exist anymore. And
Uh,
I also ushered like
is
two
that
or
where
three.
Fred Abruzzo was? That
Yeah,
one?
no, it wasn't. That's the Darrell Roth Theater where that
Oh,
was,
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
which I finally saw years ago and it was super fun. But my friends and I were like, we're not gonna get wet. Because we're like, we're good. And then I ushered at the Orpheum Theater where Stomp is. So I think I worked there
yeah.
like a handful of
Cool.
times, but then I got my merch job and I'm like, I'm gonna go work at Broadway theaters.
Yeah.
So, and like that's
Well,
how I became
probably
like really good friends
Broadway.
with like a lot of people,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Absolutely. No, I mean, that's why I say that. I think any of the like front of house gigs are amazing because you get to meet the most incredible folks. You get to meet the actors working on the show, everyone.
Also, I just want to say this about that
Fun.
because I've had discussions with actors during rehearsals, and I'm always just like, guys, always be nice to people because people in front of house talk, and everybody knows what certain people are like
Yeah.
because everybody talks.
I mean, that's the whole industry in every capacity, unfortunately.
I will say there's maybe like, well, there's one person who I had like the most, they were just like so disgusting to me at a Mamma Mia party.
Hmm.
And we saw a show with them in it. I'll tell you after. And yeah, just like, no bueno. So I would like never work with him
Oh, I'm
or
sorry.
her. But no, people talk.
Yeah, yeah, it happens. It happens. But for the most part, we had so much fun. I was at it was called the Foxwoods Theater. It's now the
Yes.
Lyric Theater. And
Mhm.
I was there for the entire run of Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark,
That
which
was my brother and sister's first Broadway show.
oh boy.
We saw Matt Kaplan as Spider-Man.
Okay, get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that was fun. That was really an experience. We were all bonded for life because of what a wild ride that was. Actually, the this film that I'm working on now is I got that through a friend that I got ushering. So anyway, I
Oh,
highly
cool.
recommend ushering. That was fun. But also another thing I was doing, because we're always hustling, right? Ever since college was I would occasionally work as a dresser. So going back to my mom, right, who's this
Mhm.
incredible designer and seamstress and everything else, she worked as a dresser. Excuse me, on Broadway for years and years, and she worked as a costumer on soap opera for years and years and years.
Can I
And
ask which soap?
yeah, One Life to Live.
Okay. I only watched All My Children.
Ah, well,
Yeah.
my friend's mom worked on All My Children. I mean, same studio.
Yeah.
So
Hold on. One Life to Live. Was that the one that David was on?
David Freemero.
Gregory? David A. Gregory?
I don't think he was there when I was there. I only
No,
know
he was like there the last like 3 years. It got canceled, right? Was it One Life to Live? Yeah.
there. Most of them are gone now, which is very
Yeah.
sad.
Well, no,
Yeah.
because like I'm friendly with him and he was on my podcast.
Hmm. Oh,
Not like,
fun.
yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. So yeah, so anyway, the ABC Studios is right across from Lincoln Center. So my mom knew a good number of folks who worked at the Met, and so they were doing a production of War and Peace, which was, the biggest show ever, and they were like, please send us anyone who knows anything about costumes, because we need more dressers. And my work study job in college was working in the costume shop with the lovely,
And yeah.
talented Anne Lomel, rest her soul. Oh my gosh, she was amazing.
Yeah,
Um,
and she only liked a handful of people, and I luckily was one of them. So,
yeah, I
you know
was.
why? Because because I worked on the wigs. I think I
Yeah.
hold the record for like fastest wig steamer. Like I
Oh,
remember I was steaming wigs, and she's like, "You're done." I'm like, "Yeah." The trick is because like these are let's say like this is the wig, right?
uh-huh.
So I'm doing my hand very weird. So like this is the wig. So what you would do, because how they taught were like you steam it individually. The trick was to put the steamer on the bottom so all the steam would go up.
Oh, look at you with your little techniques.
Hmm.
Okay, Allison.
Yeah.
See, you're gonna be
So people set the wigs. I steam. I did it like she's like, you want to see? I'm like, I will steam wigs. I won't like design them, but if you ever need me to steam a wig, I'm there.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, she was amazing. So, but
Mhm.
yeah, so working with her in the costume shop had me prepped and ready to start being a dresser. So that was something I had done kind of intermittently, like throughout, my first couple years out of college and in college. And that was how I got into dressing, which is like my main other hustle right now. So I split my time now between being a dresser and an actor, singer. So that's
Mhm.
kind of how that pathway
Soon to be
started.
songwriter. No, I have no idea. I just thought that had a nice ring to it.
Why not? I mean, as
Yeah.
many flashes as possible. Then I still
Yeah.
am always interested in youth development and
Yeah.
social justice and,
Well, I
all.
did put on Instagram actor, singer, Broadway dresser, costume designer.
I saw. Thank you.
You're welcome. I also just like loved your photo because it's like she doesn't send me a photo, it's gonna take the one from Facebook.
Oh, it's fine.
And
You
you're
could
just like, and your photo's like, hey, I'm here. It's so great. I loved it so, so much.
Thank you. Shout out
So
MBJ Photography.
one more time, who?
MBJ Photography.
Holler. I feel like I should get a headshot, but like, what do I need one for? Um,
Why not?
right.
You need them though as a director, you do.
Well, I did a photo shoot like in October for my podcast, but we'll see what happens once the panning is kind of almost over with like these readings. Who knows? I don't know. Oh, I did. Hey, Mai, I know you're listening. Shout out
Hey,
to
my love
Hey,
you.
Mai.
Bye.
What's up, mushy mushy? I saw her this past Saturday, and I was like, Mai, tell me what I need to do. And are you producing any of these things that I've directed? Yes, please, and thank you. So I talked to her about it. But who knows? Like I have a good working relationship with Neela Butte, so who knows? And I didn't even tell you this. I am officially a paid director.
Hey,
I
congrats.
got paid blank amount of money. They're like, we're going to pay you this much. I'm like, I think you should pay me this much because I was also bringing in a tech person. I mean, it wasn't like hundreds of dollars, believe me. They're like, we're a nonprofit. Like, I was like, you can pay me this much money. But yeah, I directed a virtual reading of a Neil Butte play for a regional theater in New Jersey.
congratulations, my dear. That's
Thank
wonderful.
you. Yeah, so I'm officially like a paid director. People should respect me now. Okay. I'm just like looking at my list of like questions. So actually, let's talk about your Broadway debut as a Broadway dresser. How'd you
Mhm.
get Once on this Island? Which, by the way, like I'm so happy I saw it before it closed, but also
Mm.
part of me is like, I can't believe I saw it like the week it ended.
Oh
'Cause
gosh.
that show, like I remember putting on Facebook afterwards, like in all caps, like, why is this show closing?
Mhm. Mm.
Like, and honestly, my biggest thing was making sure that I saw Alex Newell in the show.
Ah,
So
my
I'm like,
heart.
I don't care. Like, I just need to see him.
Yes,
I
you do.
didn't see Norm though,
Oh,
but
that's
like,
okay. Quentin's amazing. So,
yeah. Well, no, he got, well,
all of
I think everybody who knows me, yourself included, know that I love me some Norm Lewis.
oh my gosh, girl, me too.
Oh my
And
God,
he's
did I
a
ever,
wonderful human being also.
excuse me, I worked merch at Porky and Bess and we sold his CD there. So like in
Mm.
front of me is the merch booth, right? And I'm standing here behind it. And then he comes in to my left and he's there. And I'm like, "Oh my God, it's Norm Lewis." And I don't remember what I said or who said something, but he literally like, if this is like his arm, he did this to me. And
Mhm.
then he's like, oh ha ha. And then he left and I was like, oh, Norm Lewis just touched my arm.
I know. No, he's
I saw Phantom of the Opera just because he was in it. He's one of
oh,
3 people I want to sing me to bed at night. No offense.
it's fine.
Um,
He'd be everyone's list, I think.
I just love him so much.
It's butter.
I can just talk for hours about how I love Norm Lewis. I do. I love Norm Lewis so much. And like I would watch like Stars in the House once in a while, and like Norm Lewis appeared once, and I was like, oh! And then he sang a song from The Wiz, and I was just like watching because I was watching it on my TV because I have a smart TV, and I was like, Norm. Yeah. Sorry, I'm done now. Do you want to talk about your love for Audra?
We'll be here all day. It's okay. We won't. We
Well,
won't.
we are going to talk about your top going theater experiences, but on my list
Mhm.
is Audra in Lady Day at Emerson's Bar and Grill. I did merch for it, and I really, really like that front of house staff and the house manager of that theater.
Mhm.
Everyone is like super, super nice. And I've worked a lot of like I've worked at a lot of theaters. um, and one of my like good friends and it doesn't matter. He worked at front of house as like the cleaner and he would do headsets. I feel like I've asked you before if you known him and you're like, I don't know. But they're like, we don't have a seat for you, but like we'll have you sit on this cushion. So I sat on a cushion like in the theater and I watched her. And then I remember specifically once my shift was over, because every time my merch shift was over, I always call my mom. And I
Mhm.
called my mom. I was like, Mom, it was like a master class in acting, her performance. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of unfair how good she is at anything.
Mhm. Yeah, she's just like off the charts. It's not even right.
Yeah. Anyway, so how did Once on This Island come about? Yeah.
That was just right place, right what? Right place, right time kind of
Welcome to my
situation.
brain. Continue.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So it was the spring and the season at the Met ends around May. It starts really lightening up though before that. And most of us are per diem. So, we start having less and less shifts as the season goes along. So I was looking for a summer job and had heard that they were looking over at Once on This Island, so I dropped off my resume, and I don't remember how, but I had a friend who worked there, and we don't remember where we met. I think she actually might remember. It might have been at it was Second Stage. No, we do. I totally know. We met at Second Stage because I was a child guardian. At this theater. So I dropped off my resume and she saw my name, was like, oh my gosh, yes. So she was able to like, say nice things about me. So I got an interview and
Now,
then
where did you drop off your resume? So for the 2 people plus my who are listening, And no, seriously. So 3 people, one of which is Mai. Hey, Mai. I'm just gonna shout her out like every podcast now.
My
What up? Whoa, whoa. I told her, I'm like, you can invite me to places now. We don't live together. I don't work until 8 o'clock most nights or ever anymore. It's so great. Girl.
It's nice to only have one job, right? Isn't that such a thing for
Well,
us?
yeah, no, I mean, I actually did have 2 jobs up until like January 1st, 2017.
Mhm.
No, 2 jobs. Yeah, because like I retired from merchandise when Fiddler closed.
Mhm.
Because I'm like, I think I'm good. I'm like, I'm gonna be 30. I just aged myself. Ugh. I was like, I'm gonna be 30. I don't want to work and this is just me. Like, if you're like 80 years old and working merchandise and you fucking love it, like live your life. Just for me, I was like, I don't want to stand like for 30 minutes in a cold theater front of house and like nobody's coming up to you. Like, it's boring. I don't want to do that. And
Yeah.
like, I have a very, like, yes, I only work 4 days a week with my old job, but like, my old job is exhausting. Like, if you're having a horrible day or you feel like shit, you have to mask that with like, oh my God, welcome to New York. Hey, like, you have to be on for people. And like, people who don't experience that or live that job don't realize how exhausting it is. And like, it's, compared to being a lawyer, it's a pretty easy job. But, like being a concierge for 6.5 years was like, I'm done.
I feel you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. The job shuffle is such a thing. I mean, 2 jobs. I very frequently had 3 to 5 jobs. So
Mhm.
only having one job was a really big transition for me.
Yeah.
So,
You're like, what's this?
it's the thing,
I have a life.
right? And
I what do I
particularly when
do?
I was doing more of the like teaching artist work. Oh, I never finished that story.
I'm
Um,
sorry, we get sidetracked and I
it's
told you
fine.
this.
No, it's fine. I think I'm in the middle of like 2 stories right now, and I don't even know what I'm talking about. But the short version is all at one time I had 3 different people from 3 different places say you should come teach with me, so that was how I got into teaching. But the teaching artist life, even if I was only with one company, because I was often with one company, if I had 3 different jobs through them, it felt like 3 different jobs or like three
Yeah.
different placements. Like if I was teaching
Mhm.
music here, acting here, something else there, it would feel like 3 separate jobs. So I would often be doing that and dressing or doing that and nannying or doing that and ushering or some combination of all of it,
Yeah, can I
So
just say God bless you? Because
very
like
much
I worked at a dance studio like years ago, and I was also a camp counselor for a couple years when I was a kid. And I was like, I can't. Like, I don't want to
not
watch
a big
other people's
person.
children. I'll watch my niece if I'm ever asked, but like, I
Yeah,
don't want to watch other people's kids. I'm sorry.
you don't
Unless
have
I'm related to them, like it doesn't really interest me.
to. That's fine. It doesn't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you were talking, we got totally sidetracked. Now I can't even remember the first thing we got
I
sidetracked on,
don't either.
but I asked you where you dropped off your resume to become a dresser. I was about to say One Life to Live, but Once on This Island.
Yeah, at the stage door, and I just
Okay.
asked them to give it to the wardrobe supervisor.
So the stage door there would be the box office.
No, the stage. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Well, kind of. You give it to the box office, and they kind of hold it for the stage
Yeah.
door. I know that theater is a weird one.
Yeah. I worked Soul Doctor there. I like to call it, we jokingly called it Soul Doodle because like on the marquee it looked like doodle.
Oh
And
my
then I
god.
came up with a theme song for it. Soul
Mhm.
Doctor, he will save your life. No, it was a Soul Doctor. I don't even remember, but it just started like Soul Doctor, save your soul, he'll save it with rock. Soul Doctor, he'll save it with rock and roll. That's what it was.
Hmm.
I think I only worked like 1 shift there. I worked like 1 or 2 shifts of fun. No, I think I worked more shifts at Fun Home. Worked a lot at Lady Day at Emerson's Bar and Grill.
Mhm.
That was fun. And then I'm trying to remember what else. I don't, that was it. Yeah. Brain farts. And then, okay, Once on This Island, you get the call.
Got
You got the call. And
the.
then, and they're just like, yeah, you're just gonna like dress the goat.
Oh Oh my goodness.
So what happens? So for those people who are listening who want to know what a Broadway dresser does,
Mhm.
what does a Broadway dresser do?
Your main job is to maintain the costumes and keep them, running throughout the show. So it's, there's an element of prep, there's an element of repair, and then there's an element of just setting, presetting, helping with quick changes. And then a large part of it is also just, being with the actors. And some dressing jobs have more of an element of this than others, but you're with folks, you're making sure they have a good performance, and you're making sure they're set to go before the show. You collect their costumes from them after the show. And you're kind of in there as their buddy. They see you at the beginning of their day and the end of their day, so you're in the room with people, so you have to be their friend as well,
Yeah.
and play nice with everyone, because theater's so small. You play nice with everyone.
Again, people talk.
And I mean, people experience, that's the thing. If you're a jerk, you're going to be a jerk to everyone, and people will know. Or even if you're only a jerk in certain rooms or around certain people, folks, the walls are small, people will hear you. No one has
So,
to talk.
earlier when I said that this person was like a total ass twat to me at a Mamma Mia party, this
Mm,
upcoming reading we have coming up, I'm like, this person would be really good for it, but I'm never going to ask them because they're a fucking asshole.
mm,
Pardon my French.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so that
yeah,
happens, but for the most part, it's great. And being at once on this island was a cool experience. The show was stunning. Like, I actually got to see it uh, before I ever had an idea to work there. I don't even think I was looking for a job when I saw it. But that would be one of my top theater going experiences, because I mean, they absolutely transported you. Just the whole creative team was amazing. The concept of making it feel like an island, it was not fun to work on. It was not fun. Nobody wants to work on a show where everything's covered in sand and everything's covered in water and everything's
I've
covered in mud.
heard the story of the sand.
Nobody wants to work on that. But as an audience member, it was stunning, and it absolutely did its job in transporting you to the island. And then, of course, our cast was just amazing. Like, I
I got to
still
meet American
love
Idol to my regret
the
because
show.
of you.
Oh, oh yeah. Oh, my heart. I love her. I love her. I love her. I love her. I think I spent the most time. I was in the room with Urzuli and Papa Gay the most, and so I spent the most time with her because just the length of her contract. And she's just a delight. I worked with such lovely people on that show, so it was a
Yeah.
cool experience. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because of you, I got to meet the goats. I made their, like, you got to meet the goats. I'm like,
Oh my
yes,
gosh, our actual goats. I
I
love
got to
the
meet the
goats.
goats from one side. I think I clearly don't think they liked me. And then
Yeah,
I
they're
think
goats.
yeah, I
I
think
saw them after the show and they didn't like me either. They liked me during the show. I would bring them treats, but then afterwards they were like, we don't
I'll
know.
just never forget the Tony performance where like one of the actors is like trying to give Nathan Lane something to feed the goat, and he's just looking at him like, no. Yeah.
Oh, I do remember that. That was funny.
Yeah. And then like there was one guy in the audience on stage, people were wooing, and he's like, oh, time to woo. Woo!
Oh, I didn't catch it. That's funny.
There's like very specific things I remember at that Tony performance. Okay, so Once on This Island unfortunately closes.
Yeah.
What's next?
I took a little break because, like I said, that show was actually hard, and it was hard on my body. I was having a lot of issues with the right side of my body. It was physically demanding, and it was stressful. Like, even though it was mostly amazing, there was a lot of drama in the wardrobe room specifically. So I kind of needed a break after that show. I was
Mhm.
like, I loved everyone outside of that room and most of the folks in it. But yeah, so I kind of took a little break after that. Which was nice. It was nice to breathe because we were also on a 5 show weekend. So for our theater folks out there, your producers will set their schedule as they see fit. And there is kind of a standard Broadway schedule, but oftentimes, they'll deviate from that, which is a smart thing to do, because if you have a show when other people don't have a show, you make more
Mhm.
money. And, it's all well and
You
good,
had
but
Sunday nights, right? And you guys were off Wednesdays?
Yeah, we were off on Wednesdays, which was hard because you started kind of getting shot out of a cannon. Like
Yeah.
you had a show Thursday, a show Friday, and then like no recovery. Saturday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning, Sunday night, and then Monday, and then Tuesday, and then you're off. Whereas most shows, you're off on Monday, you like slowly go in, 2 shows, break, a little
Mhm.
one show, 2 show, one
Yeah.
show, then you have your night off, then you have a day off, then you go it back in at night. So it didn't really feel as restful. You only had, just having one day off and not having a full day after. So, or you did have, I don't know. Anyway, it was just a weird schedule and it was
Yeah.
hard on my body. It was hard on a lot of people's bodies. So,
Mhm.
um, there was a good amount of rotation there, but anyway, it was a fun experience and a beautiful show. So afterwards, I took a little bit of a break, and then no, I feel like time kind of all bleeds together. I think I went back and did um, some more of my work in schools. At that point, I was doing restorative justice coordinating, which is, like I said, the part of me that loves social justice. Because to me, all of who you are goes into who you are as an artist and a person. Like it's all very fluid and together, and it all bleeds into each other. So I was doing a lot of social justice work, and I did another dressing job at the Shed, a show called Dragon Spring Phoenix Rise, which was so fun. It was so fun. It was like summer camp. We loved it. It was a quick little, I don't even know. I don't even know how long that show ran. Maybe 6 weeks, maybe longer. It was a limited engagement. And it it was a ride, but it was really fun, and I got to work with that show was primarily dancers, and they were lovely, and I was working with the principal dancer on it, and she was so great. So that was really fun. And then, gosh, I'm trying to remember. I think I did get back to more teaching, more auditions.
Didn't you do some sort of like horror like
I
show that
did
you
a
acted
play.
in?
Oh, okay. I forgot a couple things. Okay, I did another musical too in St. Louis. I think that was before Once on This Island, which was a really fun experience with a lot of friends. Actually, friends of mine from church wrote it based on the Book of Acts. It was so fun. I got to be a principal in that. That was an amazing experience. There were actors from New York and LA and just different parts of the country. So that was really, really fun. Um, and then I did a play. Yes, I did a Halloween play.
I remember.
Yeah, that was really fun. At the Tank, shout out to our writers, Brandon and Ella Rose. They are amazing. Our director, Julia. Um, that was a really fun experience. It was funny. Yeah, it was very sound heavy. It was very tech heavy, and I got to play a scientist and say lots of sciencey words, and it was fun for me. I mean, again, going back to like
Oh,
being
I work for a
a
medical
theater
company now.
person who does like straight theater. Every so often, you're like, do I still have these muscles? And so it was cool because I had so much text, I had so much speech, and I was nervous about that, but it all worked out and was really fun. And actually, we got nominated for a Drama Desk Award for a short we did later based on that play. So that was
Nice.
really exciting. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Are you a Drama Desk nominee or just like a part of something that was nominated?
I I think I'm a part of something that was nominated, but I'm a nominee.
You just say like, I'm a nominee, guys, adjacent.
Yeah, right. So
Yeah,
that was really cool. Yeah. So
yeah.
later during the pandemic, I mean, obviously it was terrible, but the silver lining was that we were able to rest and be creative in different ways. And that was one of the projects I did. They wrote a piece for AFO Shorts, and the segment got nominated. So it was cool. It was kind of a continuation of the play, like
Well, let's
what.
not forget your most favorite part of the pandemic was filling in for tech for one of the readings I did. Where you
That's
called me
right.
before, you're like, I'm not gonna curse. I'm like, I don't care. Like, you're fine. And you're like, I hope you remember. I was like, Lisa, I don't care. Just come and be here and it's fun and you'll be great.
Great. It was great. It was fun. So yeah, so a few little actory things. I did another play too. I feel like everything is like going out of my mind right now. I can't think straight because, as we'll get to, I'm costuming a film right now, and like all I'm that's like front and
By the way, like when I found out you were doing it, I texted you. And then I
uh,
even texted the lead actor, writer, because I know them. And they're like, who is this person? I was like, how do you guys like not remember each other? I was like, it's Lisa. And I had to like text him a photo. I'm like, we were gonna do stuff with her. And he goes, oh yeah. I was like, oh, my chair is so squeaky. I'm so sorry. I've been in this chair since like 7:50 something this morning.
oh, it's fine. It happens. It happens. Um, but yeah,
So how did Mrs. Doubtfire come about?
that was a call. So one of my former supervisors at the Met became a supervisor on this show. And he called me and he said, hey, I'm doing this show. I would love to have you on my crew. Are you available? And I actually like kind of debated it a little bit because I had a teaching job that I loved. But then I was like, first of all, love working with this man. Shout out to James. He's the best dresser and the
Hi,
best boss,
James.
everything. I love working with James, so I don't want to miss that. And also Doubtfire, like so fun, right? And I'm so grateful I said yes for a myriad of reasons. The dressers on that show are amazing. So shout out to all the dressers of Mrs. Doubtfire on Broadway. Y'all are the best. It's such a fun crew. And I mean, we've had a text chain going throughout the pandemic. You know, we all like say hey to each other on like birthdays and, you know, occasionally send funny gifts or memes or whatever. So it's a good crew. And the cast is also lovely. Our producers are lovely. They've really been
You
great about
also have my Broadway talent crush as Doubtfire.
oh my gosh, girl.
So I
Rob,
want to say this. I don't know if you know this, the people listening know this, but I am a little psychic.
are you?
I am for many reasons. One of them being, I remember specifically my old apartment standing in my kitchen being like, I'm going to post on Facebook tomorrow that I feel like one day they're going to turn Mrs. Doubtfire into a musical and it's going to star Norbert Leo Butz. So I posted that on Facebook.
Mhm.
Like an hour or two later, they announced that they are turning Mrs. Doubtfire into a musical.
That's crazy.
I got the casting wrong, but I got the musical part right. And
Yeah.
like, as sad as I am that it's not Norbert,
Uh,
I love Rob McClure.
girl, no, yeah, Rob is it. I love
Yeah.
Norbert too, but Rob is it. He's
I feel like this is his
everything.
Tony.
He is everything, and he's a lovely human being.
I
Like,
know.
yeah, and
Well, I've never met him, but I
like,
just,
yeah, he's also been very active with the whole BLM movement and helping our show to be socially conscious and
yeah,
equitable. And he's just a good human all around. Like,
yeah.
just he's a good egg and ridiculously talented. It's not even right. So,
Again, he's my Broadway talent crush.
mhm.
I just love and adore him so much.
Yeah.
So okay. So Doubtfire, like,
Yeah,
are you going back when it comes back?
I am. Yep. So we'll be back in October, and I will be back as the children's dresser. I'm
Do
working
you
with
remember
all my
this
young
is
members.
what'd you
We're
say?
all great. I work with our 5 youngest members. I'm the kids dresser, and they are delightful. We have a lot of fun.
Do you want to hear like the sad things? Like, hey Lisa, I'm coming to see Doubtfire. Let's see you after. Oh, great, like whoa, backstage. Pandemic is coming. Hey, so I'll meet you at the stage door because you can't come backstage.
Yeah, no.
Broadway's canceled. So,
Oh. It was,
whoops.
yeah, that was a wild progression. I went to dinner with one of my friends who's a stage manager. She was I don't remember if she was in rehearsal at the time or she was between and just in Midtown, but we met up and then one of the girls from the cast and we all went to dinner and we were like, what is this corona thing? They keep talking about it. It's a big deal. Should we, and then like literally, I think that was that Wednesday between shows. I think it was that day or the next day that everything was canceled.
Yeah.
It was wild. It was
You know
really
the usher who got it, right? Like personally?
too. He's a
I
friend
do
of mine.
too.
Yeah, he's a
We'll talk about my experience with that person after.
yeah, but I felt so bad for him. I'm glad he's well and
Yeah.
he's a blessing to many. So anyway, it's a wild ride in this life, but But it's been interesting. I mean, so I'm like remembering now. I'm like, what actor things have I done? I did some voiceover work. I did some singing for a couple different gigs, some concerts. And then I got to dance in a music video for Alicia Keys. And again, I told you at the beginning of this, I'm not a name dropper, but that was like the biggest blessing ever.
First of all, what's the music video? Why?
Okay, you can't see, I will tell you afterwards, but you can't see me in it. First of all, it's a very hard music video to find. It's One Love, which is very hard to find, but you can't really see me in it. So I didn't really blast it that hard. It's like a dark club scene. And like at first it seemed like I was going to be in a lot and then I like wasn't, but it's fine. I booked the job. And I like telling the story because Allison, I'm a very faithful person. I know and I was just like, this is God. Like, this is just
That's why I said, like, you're not going to do Frankie and
no
Johnny.
other way. Oh, you know what? That's the only Audra show I haven't seen. So I can't actually say if I would do it or not.
Well, like, question though, like, you didn't see because you didn't get a chance or because they were naked?
No, I just didn't get a chance. I don't remember. Oh,
it didn't last very long.
But yeah, and it's been so crazy. If I was on a show, it would have been really hard for me to see it. I think I was on a show when that was
Who knows? It happened. It was there, and now it's gone.
Yeah, it's hard to. That's one thing about theater. When you're on a show, it's a blessing, but it's also really hard for you to see theater.
Yeah, I will say, like, that was the thing with merch too. It was hard to see stuff.
And then when you get an off night, the last thing you want to do is go to Midtown into the theater district. No, thank you.
Well, I don't live that far, so I can't complain.
Yeah, but even still, I don't want to. I
get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Like, I have a friend who works at Lincoln Center, and I fucking love Lincoln Center. And he's like, I'm like, oh, Lincoln Center. He's like,
I'm okay.
He's like, I work there, so like I don't want to like be there. I get it.
If you're off, I want to like go to Yankee Stadium or just stay at home or something else, or like do something totally not theater, So, oh gosh, what was I talking about?
I don't remember. My brain is like, because
Alicia Keys.
Oh, sorry, my chair. I'm getting comfy.
No, it's fine. This video, oh my gosh. So first of all, my audition was wild because I got the days mixed up and I just completely like forgot about it. I did not forget about it because it was like plastered in my brain. And I actually went a day early because I was thinking it was like Wednesday and it was like a Thursday. I was like, I'm on my way, I'm so excited. And I called my manager to ask him a question. They're like, no, it's tomorrow. And I was like, and then I went the next day, but I went at the wrong time slot altogether. And I was like, I am not going to book this job because they're going to think I'm crazy because I'm like an hour late because I thought it was like a whole different time slot. And like, you know how it goes at auditions, they see people in groups, right? So as I'm there, I'm seeing like all the, Black Lindy Hoppers are no longer there. I'm now there with a bunch of kids. And then there's like, because you see people in types. So they're seeing kids and then they're seeing like, Asian couples. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in the wrong group altogether. And then I see another Lindy Hopper come who was like also, I guess, having a day. So we were like, yes, you're here. Okay, good. So we were like practicing together in the hallway. Like, what moves do you know? What moves do you know? Because I'm not like, in New York, I feel like people have like specialties about things. Like if you're a Lindy Hopper, you're like a Lindy Hopper, like you know everything about it. And
I don't know what Lindy Hopper is.
So Lindy Hop is a style of dance that is right before swing. So it's like that type of movement. So I kind of know it. I can kind of do it, but I'm not like a pro,
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I could fake it. Cause when they called me, they were like, so we have an audition. Can you do it? And I was like, I don't know. And they're like, it's for Alicia Keys. I was like, yes, I will do it. So I went to class. I found a swing class and a Lindy Hop class and I just went and then I showed up at the audition. But anyway, so everything was like feeling like it just wasn't going to be a thing. And then I went in there and I was like, I'm not good at learning choreography. Like that is my fatal blow as a dancer. I dance well, I move well, but oh my gosh, things just don't stay in my head. So I was like, this is going to be bad because I'm going to get there late. And if they're doing a combo, I'm not going to learn it. But that wasn't the case. It was just, people in groups. And then they had us go in and freestyle. And I was like, oh, I'm really good at that. That was how I got my other commercial also. So I booked the job, which was amazing because I was like, late and I didn't think I was that good at the style of dance and I didn't think I would learn the combo and it just all worked. So that's just my story for like when something is meant for you, it is meant for you and it will happen. And Alicia Keys is like, oh, I just love her. Like
She
there's
keep
something
falling
about her
in
yeah, she's
love.
just kind of always like been it for me. Like she's always there's something just really special about her to me. So the
Yeah.
fact that was like my like big thing that I booked that year was amazing. And it was a really fun experience too. But yeah, anyway, ultimately you can't see me in the music video, so that's why you've never seen
You know
it.
what? You were there and you got to experience
It's
Alicia Keys.
fine. And when they called to say that I booked it, they said she picked you herself. I lost my whole mind. They were like, she watched all the videos, like she picked you herself. And I was like, oh my gosh. So we're best friends is the moral of the story.
Yeah, I'm best friends with Neil Abute. I get it.
Yeah, you know.
He and I are besties. Like Coco Marshall's like, yeah, you guys are best friends. I was like, exactly. Do you have a favorite role you've ever played?
um, yes. I mean, my easy answer is always Sarah because that was my dream role, and I got to do it in college, and it was so fun, and I love ragtime. So that's the one I always like go to first, just because of all the anticipation. Um, but I really did have so much fun in All Shook Up. I loved playing Lorraine, so they were both favorites.
I'm just looking at my like list of things, like questions. I'm like, where do you see like your career going, like future wise? Is that like a loaded question? Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yeah, I don't know. Anybody who survived 2020 and feels like they could plan anything. That's my answer to that. The goal is and has been to be on Broadway, preferably as an actor, but I like dressing as well. And to, I listen, we don't know what's going to happen at
Mhm.
all, ever. But I'm going to always be moving towards like, doing great work that excites me and making friends and I don't know, being inspirational and helpful to people and hopefully making the world a better place and being socially responsible and active. These are the goals.
I just had like a really excitable moment looking at you. Like, I'm just so happy you're on my podcast. I'm just like, oh, Lisa's on my podcast. I just got like so happy and excited. Just
Yeah.
like looking at you answering that. I'm like, oh, people can't see like my reaction to you right now. Like, I love it.
Thank you.
So let's talk about your top going theater experiences. Or you know what? Let's do dream roles first because that kind of segues better into what you were just talking about. What are the dream roles?
I'm never good at this question. Like it's an important question that they ask you.
Listen, some people have answers of like it hasn't been written yet, or it's, Captain Jack Sparrow. I say that because I have a Pirates of the Caribbean lamp I'm looking at right now. I had somebody saying like it's not necessarily a dream role, but it's like being in certain people's orbit to
Mhm.
kind of like maybe create something with them or just like, so
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's how I would kind of answer as well. Like my truest answer is I feel like it hasn't been written yet. That's always kind of how I answer that. And I'm excited about all the things that are happening with Black theater. I am excited to see more stories that center around Black joy, and that's what I want to be a part of.
I want to see you do a Shakespeare production in Central Park. That's
I
what I
do
want to
too.
see you do Shakespeare at the Delacorte,
I do
giving me a comp ticket. Um,
the truth comes out.
no, seriously, I want to see it because
Yeah,
you're very like, and I told you for this podcast, like I saw you as Blanche in college. I'm like, you were a great Blanche.
that was fun.
You
Yeah.
were. That was an all-colored
Made it
cast.
very-
I
Yeah.
will say that was a very long production. And I was just
We
like,
did it uncut. We did, yeah,
oh,
there's
I'm fully aware because I was sitting there. It's like, can I pretend to be sick and leave?
no, you cannot support your
No.
friends.
But no, I stayed. But it's also a very small space that was performed in two. So I think that added to it. But you
Mhm.
were wonderful.
Thank you.
Not
Yeah, that was a cool experience. Shout out to Stephen for the opportunity. And I hope you are well, dear. So yeah, that was a really cool thing to do. And that was a cool role. But she was heavy. She was heavy. It's hard when you're playing roles of people who have such intense circumstances because you carry it with you. And that is something with ragtime and a lot of these shows that center around the Black experience is they're heavy, and you have this over awareness of injustice in your mind all the time because,
Mhm.
as you know, when you're in a production it's always in your mind. And so it can be hard. I remember specifically when that show ended feeling like the weight of Blanche was lifted because she was so dark, she was so hurt, she was so broken, um, and just desperate and hanging on to anything. So um, yeah, it's those roles are meaty and exciting, and I do want to do more of them, but I also really next want to do something that centers around joy. I think that's the next thing I want to do.
Yeah. Well, Mrs. Doubtfire is coming back, and that's,
That is joy.
McClure is just joy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
All of
what are your top going theater experiences?
okay. So first and foremost, so back to Shakespeare. So one of my favorite plays is Midsummer. And oh my gosh, did you see the production that was at Theater?
Oh, you froze. Oh, you're still frozen. I'm gonna riff.
Oh
You-
no.
Oh, I hear you. There you are. Okay.
Okay.
So you were
Am I
doing
back?
this.
Yes. Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I'm
Sorry.
Where was this production? And no, I haven't seen it.
Oh my gosh. The one that was at Theater for a New City in Brooklyn.
Honey, I
Girl.
don't do Brooklyn.
Okay. That's
I
a
did
problem.
go see, what did I see? I went to see, oh my God, shit, Streetcar Named Desire at St. Anne's
Mhm.
Warehouse, though, with Ben Foster, Vanessa
Uh-huh.
Kirby, before The Crown, before she was like,
Right. Right. I heard
and
it was
Gillian
amazing.
Anderson. It
I heard
was
it was amazing.
incredible.
I believe it. Yeah, I heard that was amazing.
That was 5 years ago.
Wow. Time
Mhm.
flies. Okay, so this production was directed by Julie Taymor. It was not very long after Spider-Man. I just her eye is amazing, and that space is really really flexible, so
Mhm.
it was opened up almost entirely and it made it entirely immersive. I love immersive theater. So the chorus was played by children in a dance company, and that in and of itself made a really cool effect because they were like just visually they were just these little white creatures running around like they were painted, their bodies were painted white and gray from what I remember. Maybe I'm wrong, but they were just like running around and they were amazing. And because it was Julie, there was elements of like circus and it was colorful and it was just, oh my gosh, it was brilliant. But the handling of the text was also really fantastic. And so I really enjoyed that. It was one of my favorite experiences. Passing Strange, still one of my favorite shows. And I just never had seen anything like it. I still haven't. Again, just to the versatility of Black actors, we don't see enough of variety like that. So that was brilliant, and I loved that. I did love Once on This Island. Seeing it as an audience member was just outstanding. Oh gosh, what else? When I saw Raisin in the Sun, oh my gosh, that was my first time ever seeing Audra live. I like lost my whole mind. I was like, she's real. Oh my gosh. And just not only her, Felicia Rashad, Sanaa Lathan, like even Puff, like Diddy, like just everyone was amazing. And it
Well,
was
what I heard about him and what I very much respect about what he did was because, again, like you hear from front of house, and they said he worked his ass off. Every
mhm.
day he would come in with an acting teacher doing what he needed
Yeah,
to do,
yep,
like to do the role. And I heard he was great.
yep. Absolutely. It showed. Yeah, I heard that too. I heard that he had worked really hard
Yeah.
to be able to do that, and it showed. I mean, listen, being in New York City, there's so, oh my gosh, I remember seeing August Osage County when it was new. That was amazing. We just get access to the most amazing things. This is kind of like Turkey, but whatever. My mom, one of the first shows my mom worked on was 42nd Street.
Mhm.
And for those who don't know, that show is like quintessential Broadway. It has all these classic Broadway hits in it. It's bright and flashy, and they're tap dancing. It's like everything you think of when you think of like Broadway. And she was working on that when I was still in school and like obsessing over musical theater. So I saw that show. I think I was one of those people who saw this, like those people. I think I saw it like 12 times.
Honey,
Um,
you're talking to somebody
and I
who saw
loved it.
shows many times.
Yeah, I saw it many, many, many times, and
Yeah.
it just represented everything I wanted in moving to New York. So like that and Chicago were the first two shows I was like obsessed with, and Phantom of the Opera.
What was your first Broadway show?
Um, I'm thinking of the song Beauty and the Beast because I was little.
My first was Les Mis and I was 5. So
Oh, cute.
at
That's funny.
5, not so
That's
much.
a
But
5-year-old too. Oh, well, I guess technically they brought me to see Serafina when I was like very little because they told me that. And I was like, why did you do that?
Sarah, I don't even know what that is.
It's a show. Oh my gosh, it was a movie starring Whoopi Goldberg, and I know it's largely about apartheid, but I don't remember very much. I know it takes place in a girls' school. But yeah, I don't remember very much. But I think I was like 2. They brought me in there. My mom's like, everyone kept saying how well behaved you were and how cute you were. And I was like, I'm glad that worked out.
Right. My niece's first Broadway show, she's 2, and it's going to be The Lion King in the fall.
Oh, yay! That was one of my first. That was a show that I saw that made me say, this is what I want to do. So I guess that is my most significant theater going experience.
Okay,
Like,
because
this is
we have a few more minutes.
Ooh,
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Inside, this is the famous question from Bernard Clouf. I don't remember the name of the guy who created it, but what is your favorite word?
Delicious.
I feel like I say delicious weird. So that's kind of funny that you say that. I feel like I say it so weird. Anyway, what is your least favorite word?
Quirky or cork. They just feel wrong coming out of your mouth.
What turns you on?
Love. That was so cliche. That was what I thought of. And I was like, don't say that. But that was what I was
Listen,
thinking.
my favorite word is love, so I get it.
Yeah.
What turns you off?
Rudeness and just general meanness.
Now, this next question I'm about to ask you might be a little difficult for you because you don't actually curse. What is your favorite curse word?
I don't have one because I don't like them.
It's fine. You can say poopy. That's why I said this question might be difficult for you. Okay, what sound or noise do you love?
My favorite sound is the sound when you peel an orange and then when you separate the little pieces, if you put it next to your ear, it's like so crisp.
It's so specific, but I'm
I
here
know,
for it.
that's my favorite sound.
I'm here for it. What sound or noise do you hate?
Crying, especially babies. It's just a sad sound.
What profession other than yours would you like to attempt?
House flipping.
Like, look, you can do it. I can
Thank
say
you.
it.
I
Oh,
intend
I
to.
see your Instagrams where you're
I
just like,
know. I'm
my
obsessed
dream.
with houses. I'm obsessed with houses. I really am.
Yeah. What profession would you not like to attempt?
Ugh. I, probably anything super corporate. That would just be hard.
And finally, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Heaven does exist, and hopefully God will say, well done, good and faithful servant.
Here are your students. Sorry, I had to change that. Remember when we saw Inside the Actors Studio? Were you one of the people who got to sing to Conan?
No, I was not. Was I there for that? I don't
Oh,
even
I
remember that
was.
happening. No, I didn't.
Everybody front of house at Schimel knew I was there for Coco O'Brien.
That's hilarious. No, I don't know why I did. But you know what? I remember they always scheduled them when we had rehearsals. They were always really hard to go to. Do you remember that? I remember being mad at that. Like,
I
why would
like how you thought, I like how you think that I was always cast in a show.
they? Well,
And then
whatever.
I was
That
like
was the
always
thing.
in rehearsal for something.
No, but honestly, that was the thing. Like, they kept scheduling it when rehearsals happened, and it
I
was
know
like,
that like I can't remember what I think it was like Dog Sees God I was in that you couldn't see because you had rehearsal.
yeah, it, I can. I have rehearsal. That T-shirt is real life. Um, I didn't see a lot of shows because of my schedule, but I remember that I saw Holly Berry. I cut class to see it. I actually cut an exam to see her, and it was worth it. And I still
She
got an
was
A.
great. Yeah, there were a lot of really good ones. Daniel
Yeah.
Radcliffe was really good. Ray Fiennes was good.
Oh, I think I saw that one, the Ray Fiennes one. I
Yeah.
remember that one. Yeah, I remember that it was hard. I remember Holly Berry's because I it was one of those classes where they like you have three exams and they drop one and take the other two and that's your grade. And I was like, well, I'm getting A's on the other two because I'm not going to this one. And
Yeah.
that's what happened.
But I did like I had a lot of respect for her because like she was answering questions and I think she had to go to Letterman or something. And they're like, oh, you need to go. She's like, you know what? Let me answer some more questions. Like they can wait. And I was like, that's pretty awesome of you that you were like, I'm here helping people. Like, let me answer these questions. But
She
before I
had a
let
really
you,
cool
sorry, go ahead.
energy. She had a really cool energy, and I liked how much of a fighter she was. I loved hearing her
Yeah.
story.
I'll also never forget like the Jennifer Aniston one. You can tell she wanted to like leave, but like James Lipton was like holding on to her
Oh, that's
for
funny.
like
I
the
don't think I've
photos, and you can just tell she just wanted to be like, bye. Now before we end, I feel like I always forget to ask people this, but I feel like you're gonna be a good person to ask.
Mm.
Why is theater important?
Oh, oh my gosh.
I know you're the best person to ask this question as I sip out of my hot priest mug.
That's like a really loaded question to ask me when I need to like log off. But um,
I'm
theater is
sorry.
important. No, it's okay. Theater is important because it is and has always been the most accessible, should be the most accessible way for us to tell stories, connect to one another. It is the best way for us to learn that every role matters, whether you are the star of the show, whether you're front of house, back of house, backstage, on stage. We need everyone to make the show happen. We need the audience to make the show happen. Everyone matters. And it's such a gorgeous community, and we literally make magic happen. And we can do it with nothing. That's why I love shows like Chicago, shows like Rent that have a stationary set and just, or the costumes don't change, the pieces don't change. We literally make magic happen. So theater has the power to transform people and bring people together in a way that nothing else can.
On that,
Maybe music.
la la la. Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording. Still hang on. Thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. It is so long overdue because we've been talking about this since like I started. I adore you.
Love you too.
Bye, guys.
Bye.